The price of forgetting. A billionaire's secret baby. Attention. A billionaire leaves his devoted wife for a dazzling mistress, only to face her impactful return and the shattering truth of a secret baby. Do you think money can buy amnesia? This story will prove you wrong. If you are passionate about real-life dramas of resilience and poetic justice, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Your support is vital for us to keep sharing these powerful narratives. The warm glow of recessed lighting enveloped the luxurious interior of the Eternal Charm, London's most exclusive French restaurant, known for hosting only the city's most influential names. Tonight, the soft flicker of candlelight and the hushed conversations carried an undercurrent of tension, for a man with everything to lose was about to gamble his entire life on one single, breathtaking evening. Multi-billionaire Ethan Blackwood arrived with a dazzling woman on his arm, who was not his wife. He had planned the perfect romantic date with vintage champagne and a discreet velvet-roped alcove. However, fate had a cruel twist reserved because his pregnant wife, Olivia, had just walked in the front door. The Blackwood Empire. Ethan Blackwood was more than a well-known name. He was the name in fintech innovation. Raised in a modest working-class neighborhood in Manchester, his meteoric rise to billionaire status fascinated the media, intrigued the business world, and inspired countless entrepreneurs. At 38, he had forged a reputation for turning the impossible into reality. Startups skyrocketed under his wing, and even bankrupt companies found salvation in his guiding hand. He was a living legend, the man whose mere presence in a meeting promised money and miracles. But behind the scenes, Ethan was also a man, trapped by the snares of his own success. Power, influence, and an unyielding ambition had sculpted him into a figure he didn't always recognize in the mirror. Gone were the days when he could stroll down the street unnoticed. Everywhere he went, the paparazzi lurked, capturing snapshots of his every move. His life had become a public spectacle, with fans and critics devouring details of both his business dealings and his private indulgences. Though he never asked for this obsessive attention, he thrived on the respect and fear the Blackwood name instilled. His personal life, however, had become a frayed tapestry. 7 years ago, he had married Olivia Hayes, who took his name to become Olivia Blackwood. Their love story read like a modern fairy tale. The charming, grounded girl who won the heart of the rising tech tycoon. When they walked the red carpets hand in hand, the flashes bathed them in an aura of perfection. They exuded elegance, confidence, and mutual admiration. For years this image held, but love in the high-stakes world of billionaires rarely remains untouched. As Ethan's empire grew, so did the distance between him and Olivia. She remained supportive, but found herself overshadowed by conference calls, business trips, and never-ending philanthropic galas. They tried to reconnect many times. A private trip to the Maldives, a renewal of vows on their 5th anniversary. But every romantic breath was devoured by the current of Ethan's unstoppable career. For a time, Olivia consoled herself that they would eventually find balance. She had faith that the man she fell in love with was still in there, behind the layers of executive suits and corporate missions. Yet, a void grew in their $20 million Chelsea mansion, a silent echo that no amount of luxurious furnishings or expansive gardens could fill. A blessing and a burden. Life, ironically, gave them a blessing. Olivia became pregnant. Upon hearing the news, Ethan was momentarily jubilant. A child offered a chance to reboot, to fill the void with a new purpose. Olivia believed that with a baby on the way, Ethan would step back from work and step back towards her. But the pregnancy also brought unspoken pressures. Everyone, from investors to board members, began questioning how fatherhood might reshape Ethan's priorities. Would he become less aggressive, less relentless? And, hidden beneath Ethan's excitement, a fear flickered. He didn't have time for fatherhood as things were now. Would he be able to love this child as they deserved? It was during this confusing emotional whirlwind that he crossed paths with Zara Miller. 28, ambitious and beautiful in a quietly devastating way, Zara worked as an events coordinator for elite philanthropic circles in Mayfair. She wasn't a gold digger, but she wasn't a saint either. She recognized Ethan's vulnerabilities and disillusionments. Over cocktails at a charity event, ironically one meant to raise funds for disadvantaged children, their eyes locked. Zara was so different from Olivia. Her confidence was sharp, her conversation fearless, and she wasn't overtly impressed by Ethan's wealth, or so she claimed. Drawn by an irresistible mix of sexual tension and emotional escape, Ethan found himself entrusting Zara with secrets he had never told Olivia. He was captivated by how she challenged him, how she introduced him to circles of art and music he had neglected. Their relationship, which started as harmless conversation, quickly escalated to clandestine dinners and private jets to picturesque hideaways. Zara was an adrenaline rush, a departure from the carefully orchestrated public persona he had grown accustomed to. Still, Ethan never planned to be unfaithful. He rationalized his actions as fleeting impulses, moments of rebellion. He loved Olivia, or so he told himself. But with every stolen kiss, every hidden date, he drifted further from the vow he had made years ago. The complication: Olivia was pregnant, radiating maternal pride. Day by day, more dedicated to the family she expected to build. Ethan believed he could handle everything. He had always handled everything, from multi-million-pound acquisitions to philanthropic visions. He failed to see, however, that a heart isn't a company to acquire or a problem to be solved with money. A heart is fragile, and when torn, it bleeds secrets until they spill into the light. The secret bubble bursts. Rumors of Ethan's personal indiscretions had been bubbling beneath the surface for weeks. Tabloids occasionally ran suggestive headlines, tech billionaire spotted with mystery brunette, but the stories never gained traction. Olivia remained blissfully unaware. Her days were spent in prenatal yoga sessions, reading books on motherhood, or simply enjoying quiet mornings with herbal tea. She didn't notice how Ethan's gaze often turned distant. For her part, Zara Miller was astute. She enjoyed the thrill of being courted by one of the world's most powerful men. For her, it was more than a relationship. It was an ascent into a realm of power and influence she had only glimpsed from a distance. However, she suspected Ethan's true feelings were tied to responsibility more than the desire for a permanent escape. She knew he couldn't simply leave Olivia, not with a baby on the way, but she savored every moment he chose to spend with her instead of his wife. One night, Zara provoked him. "Why do you hide me in Ritz hotel suites and tucked away table corners? Aren't you a man who takes what he wants?" Her challenge weighed heavily on Ethan's mind. He was a man accustomed to risk. After all, that was how he built his empire. So he planned something audacious, a very public date at the Eternal Charm. A venue so exclusive that paparazzi usually couldn't get past the doorman, and the press rarely heard about the VIP guest list until after the night was over. Ethan made the reservation under a different name, Mr. Davies, a trick he'd used before to preserve privacy. He also arranged for a private alcove in the restaurant's famous, discreet The Nook, rumored to have been the location of many secret political and celebrity meetings. He promised Zara a night of culinary delight and whispered confessions, a slice of life that Olivia had once treasured when she was the only woman on his arm. That same day, Olivia was meeting her lifelong friend, Carla Reynolds, a renowned fashion designer. For dinner, Carla insisted they dine somewhere special to celebrate Olivia's pregnancy. "Let's go to the Eternal Charm," Carla gushed. "It's one of the few places I've never had a reservation for, but I have a friend who can get it." Olivia agreed, unaware of her husband's identical plans. The pieces were in place. The stage was set for a collision of hearts that would reshape their world. The collision. The Eternal Charm was no ordinary restaurant. Its modest brick exterior revealed little of the opulence it concealed. Upon entry, guests were greeted by marble floors, ornate chandeliers that seemed to drip crystal, and walls lined with antique mirrors that reflected candlelit tables. The air carried a faint aroma of truffles, citrus, and aged wine, a testament to the meticulously crafted Michelin-starred culinary wonders in its kitchen. That night, the place buzzed with a quiet excitement. At 7:30 sharp, Ethan Blackwood arrived in a charcoal gray suit that whispered wealth and influence. Zara Miller, draped in a backless crimson dress, held gently onto his elbow. Her dark hair was pulled back into a loose bun, revealing earrings that shimmered whenever she tilted her head in laughter. Together, they radiated an undeniable chemistry, an aura that often envelops two people bound by forbidden desire. They were escorted through a side entrance to avoid the main lobby. After a short walk down a dim corridor lined with plush tapestries, they reached their alcove. It was a small, circular space, enclosed by a wide velvet curtain that allowed privacy yet offered a view of the restaurant. They settled in, glancing around discreetly. To his relief, Ethan saw no familiar faces, especially not his pregnant wife. Zara's eyes twinkled mischievously as she looked at the menu. "This is divine," she said, placing a hand lightly over Ethan's. "I wonder if the foie gras is as legendary as they say." He smiled, leaning closer, inhaling the scent of her perfume. "If not," he whispered, "we can always order the whole menu and see what meets expectations." Their waiter, Pierre, an immaculate Frenchman with decades of experience serving high society, approached with a bottle of Dom Perignon vintage. "Compliments of Mr. Davies, special request," Pierre intoned, pouring the champagne with precision. Zara raised her glass. The crystal rim reflected the flickering candlelight. The first sip tasted of opulence and anticipation. Just as they toasted their secret, a silence fell over the main area of the restaurant. Unaware behind the thick velvet drapes, Ethan and Zara found themselves momentarily oblivious to the reason. However, outside their alcove, the cause became evident. Olivia Blackwood had arrived, arm in arm with Carla Reynolds. The hostesses at the entrance recognized Carla immediately, her bold, avant-garde fashion sense making her a famous face on the London scene, and guided the two women to a table near the large windows. Olivia's baby bump was just beginning to show through her emerald silk dress, which Carla had specially designed for her. She felt radiant, though a little tired from the day's errands. Still, her spirits lifted at the prospect of good food and time with a dear friend. She had no idea her husband was a few feet away, sharing intimacies with another woman. As Olivia and Carla settled in, Carla couldn't help but gaze at the lavish decor. Even for a fashion mogul accustomed to high-end experiences, the atmosphere was mesmerizing. She turned to Olivia with a proud smile. "This place is the pinnacle of exclusive. Only the best for you and your future little one." Olivia laughed softly, but her thoughts drifted to Ethan. She wished he was with her, experiencing this celebration of taste and life together. "You know," she began, "Ethan has been so busy lately. I can't blame him, but sometimes I think we're becoming strangers." Carla placed a reassuring hand over hers. "That's normal, especially when you're pregnant. You're both under so much pressure. There's the board, the media, and your personal changes. Have you tried talking to him about how you feel? Olivia nodded. I have, but he usually just says things will quiet down soon. We just have to get through this quarter. Or he changes the subject by focusing on the baby. Part of me believes him. Another part is worried that once the baby is here, he'll be even busier. Carla frowned but said nothing. She hoped Olivia's worries were unfounded. Audience interaction and tension built. In the alcove, Ethan and Zara laughed over a private joke. The remnants of an exquisite foie gras dish lay on their plates. Zara leaned in. I'm not sure about you, she quipped, but I'm still hungry. Let's see what else the chef is famous for. Ethan took her hand. Order anything you want. He glanced at his phone briefly, an instinctual check to ensure no urgent texts from his staff or Olivia. Guilt washed over him. He remembered his wife was home, or so he believed, probably prepping dinner or reading a book. He told himself he would make it up to her somehow. As if on cue, across the restaurant, Olivia checked her phone too. A pang of disappointment hit her. She realized she hadn't received a single text from Ethan all day. There was a longing in her eyes that Carla couldn't miss. Meanwhile, something else was brewing. A waiter recognized the powerful face of Ethan Blackwood in that private alcove, despite the pseudonym Mr. Davies. He discreetly pointed him out to another staff member in the hallway. They exchanged glances, unsure whether to approach or treat him like any other VIP. They decided to uphold the restaurant's strict code of discretion. After all, many high-profile people chose the eternal charm for the assurance that their privacy would be protected. But staff gossip is a force of nature. Within minutes, the whispers had spread. Ethan Blackwood is here, and he's not with his wife. Some shot sympathetic glances. Others were merely amused. This was the kind of juicy scenario that could end up in the tabloids if someone dared to take a picture. Still, the Eternal Charm prided itself on its no-camera policy. Even so, the news traveled, and soon, the hostess who was escorting a new party of guests recognized Olivia Blackwood in the dining room. Her eyes widened momentarily, connecting the dots. There was an electric tension in the air, a sense that something monumental was about to happen. Stop. If you're hooked on this dramatic buildup, please hit the like button right now. It truly helps our channel. The showdown. Olivia excused herself to go to the ladies' room. In the hallway, she felt a strange sense of nervousness, as if the restaurant's atmosphere was tangibly charged. Passing staff members offered polite smiles tinged with curiosity. She dried her hands on rose-scented soap in the washroom and looked into the mirror. Her pregnancy glow was undeniable, but so was the slight line of worry between her brows. On her way back, she caught a glimpse of a man bearing a striking resemblance to Ethan from behind. A tall figure, with broad shoulders, an impeccably cut suit, entering an alcove. Olivia's heart skipped a beat. It can't be him, she thought. Ethan had told her he had a working dinner with some partners at a hotel downtown. She dismissed it, letting logic override her momentary suspicion. At their table, Carla was chatting animatedly on the phone about a last-minute design tweak for an upcoming fashion show. Seeing Olivia's expression, she ended the call quickly. "All good?" she asked. Olivia forced a smile. "Yes, I thought I saw someone. Must be the lighting." Meanwhile, in the alcove, Ethan found himself battling a surge of guilt. Perhaps it was the restaurant's quietness or the flicker of an imagined conscience, but a pang in his chest reminded him of what he was risking. He looked at Zara, who radiated seductive confidence. She was everything exciting, yet everything dangerous. He had come this far. There was no turning back now. He tried to ignore the disquiet ringing inside him. Zara noticed his sudden pensive state. "Second thoughts?" she asked, sipping her champagne. "No," he lied smoothly. "Just work stuff." She studied his eyes. You know you don't have to lie to me, Ethan. I get it. You have a wife, a reputation. But you and I, let's not ruin the moment. She placed a comforting hand on his arm. Her words were gentle, but her tone was tinged with an undercurrent of tension. She, too, was aware that the bubble they inhabited was fragile, threatened by the mere presence of truth. They ordered their main courses, delicate Wagyu beef fillets, drizzled with truffle butter, and accompanied by roasted wild mushrooms. Zara snapped a quick photo of the plated masterpiece with her phone, an impulse she instantly regretted. Ethan frowned. They never documented their time together for fear of digital fingerprints. Embarrassed, Zara quickly deleted the image, but the moment underscored how precariously they balanced their secret. The real drama of the night began when Carla suggested they explore the restaurant's famous dessert trolley, up close. "Let's walk over there," she said. "I hear they have a crème brûlée with imported Tahitian vanilla, and you, my dear friend, definitely need something sweet." Olivia agreed, rising from her seat, mindful of the small bump where new life was growing. The two headed toward the center of the dining room, where a maitre d' stood near a rolling cart laden with intricately crafted pastries, fruit tarts, and chocolate gâteau. At the same time, Ethan decided to stretch his legs. Feeling the confines of the alcove pressing down on him, he excused himself from Zara under the pretense of discussing a special item with the chef. "I want to make tonight unforgettable," he said. "There's a special amuse-bouche I heard the chef can prepare on request." Zara smiled indulgently. "You're too good to me." He slipped out of the alcove, entering the dimly lit main dining room. Suddenly, his eyes landed on a familiar figure in an emerald silk dress. He held his breath. The hair, the posture. There was no doubt. It was Olivia. She was only a few feet away, conversing with Carla. Instinctively, Ethan slid behind a tall floral arrangement. His mind buzzed with panic. He had to get back into the alcove before Olivia saw him. This was the worst possible scenario. He had planned every detail of this night, but fate was not his ally. Carla caught Ethan's reflection in a decorative mirror on the opposite wall. She recognized him instantly. Her mouth fell open slightly, the initial shock quickly replaced by anger and confusion. Why would he be hiding behind an arrangement of lilies in the middle of the restaurant when he was supposed to be at a business dinner? And who was he here with? The question sliced through her mind like a blade. She turned to Olivia, her heart pounding. She needed to handle this carefully. "Olivia, darling," she said, "I just realized I left my purse at the table. Let me go grab it. Don't move." Confused, Olivia nodded, turning her attention back to the dessert trolley. As soon as Carla was out of earshot, she slid around the corner where she had seen Ethan. He was there, face pale, a lost man scrambling for an exit strategy. Carla's voice was low, cold with fury. "Ethan, what the hell is going on? Are you seriously here right now with someone else?" He tried to speak, but no words came out. Fear and shame wrestled for dominance on his features. "Carla, this is not what it looks like," he finally managed. Carla's eyebrows shot up. "Then enlighten me, please." He leaned in, trying to keep his voice low so Olivia wouldn't hear. I can't explain here. Just please, let me handle this." Carla took a sharp breath, looking around to ensure Olivia was still occupied. "If you don't tell her, I will," she hissed. Her voice trembled with rage. "I will not lie to her. She is my friend, and she is carrying your child." Ethan's eyes pleaded. "Just give me a moment to sort it out. Let me get Zara out of here. Then I will talk to Olivia myself." Disgust flickered across Carla's face at the mention of the mistress's name. "You'd better act fast," she spat. She turned and walked back to Olivia's side. Olivia seemed oblivious, pointing out a fruit tart that had caught her eye. But Carla's stomach was churning. certain that in a matter of minutes, this entire situation would explode. Ethan slipped back into the alcove. Zara looked up from her phone, noticing his agitation. "What's wrong?" He grabbed his jacket from the back of the chair. "We have to leave now." She blinked, bewildered. "What do you mean? Did something happen with the amuse-bouche?" "No, it's Olivia," he confessed, his voice shaking. "She's here in the main dining room." Zara felt a surge of contradictory emotions. Fear, excitement, a twisted sense of validation. "That's unfortunate," she said quietly. Ethan swallowed, scrutinizing the hallway. "We'll just exit through the side entrance. I'll fix this later." Zara stood up. For a brief second, it looked as if she might protest. This was her big moment, a public date, and now it was going to end with them sneaking out like thieves. But she saw the panic in Ethan's eyes, so she followed him. They began to head toward the side door, only to find it blocked by a couple of staff members transporting new supplies. They had no choice but to cross the main dining room, or wait there. Risky. Gambling on an encounter with Olivia, Ethan's thoughts swirled wildly, trying to devise a plan. Meanwhile, every second felt like a countdown to disaster. Carla guided Olivia back to their table, urging her to sit down. "I have a surprise for you," she lied. "Let me call the waiter so we can place the dessert order." Olivia settled in, a smile playing on her lips. "You're spoiling me tonight, Liz, but you know I love surprises." As Carla turned away to find the waiter, she saw Ethan and Zara heading toward the side door. It enraged her to see them together, ready to vanish into the night without facing the consequences. She quickly made a decision. Perhaps it was loyalty. Perhaps it was anger. She intercepted them. From her seat, Olivia glimpsed a figure alarmingly like Ethan near the side door. She froze, blinking in confusion, her heart racing. She got up laboriously, ignoring the curious glances of other diners. Pushing her way through the crowd, she found Carla, Ethan, and a mysterious woman locked in a tense confrontation. Ethan spun around to see Olivia standing there, her face etched with disbelief and heartbreak. Beside him, Carla looked both guilty and fiercely protective. Zara, looking rattled, clutched her handbag, wearing a mask of calm she didn't truly feel. For a moment, time seemed to stretch like a rubber band about to snap. The restaurant's silence was palpable. Patrons who had recognized the protagonists watched with wide eyes. Even the staff kept their distance, unsure whether to intervene. Finally, Olivia broke the silence. Her voice trembled with a mixture of shock and mounting anger. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" Ethan swallowed, attempted to speak, but the gravity of the moment crushed his words. He was trapped. There was no clever explanation, no spin control that could elegantly save this. All the cunning he had used in business negotiations, all the charm that had opened doors, none of it could rescue him from the roar of personal betrayal he had orchestrated. Olivia looked at Zara, then back at Ethan. "Answer me," she demanded, tears welling in her eyes. "What is going on?" Zara cleared her throat, taking a step forward in a bold move. "Olivia, I'm so sorry. We should talk about this. Don't say anything," Carla cut in, stepping between Zara and Olivia. "Olivia deserves the truth from him." Ethan reached out a hand as if to comfort his wife, but she recoiled, stepping back and cradling her arms protectively around her stomach. "Don't touch me," she whispered. Tears were now streaming down her cheeks. "Don't come near me." He stood there, feeling more helpless than he had ever been in his life. "Olivia, please, I'm so sorry." "You're sorry for what?" she challenged. "For cheating on me? For risking everything we built? For doing this while I'm pregnant with your child?" The tension boiled over, and the entire restaurant seemed to hold its breath. Carla gently guided Olivia away from the spotlight, but Olivia resisted, staring fixedly at Ethan. "Don't follow me," she warned, her voice trembling. "I need to get out of here." As she turned, a wave of dizziness washed over her. Before Carla could support her, Olivia swayed slightly. Her face paled. She clutched her stomach. Alarmed, Carla helped her steady herself. The shock and emotional toll of the confrontation had physically affected Olivia. "You need air," Carla murmured, guiding her toward the exit. A couple of waiters rushed forward to assist, directing them to a waiting car outside. All the while, Ethan stood motionless, powerless to do anything more than watch the woman he had sworn to love slip away from his grasp. Behind him, Zara stood awkwardly. Disapproval emanated from every corner of the restaurant. She suddenly felt very much alone in the venue she had entered so triumphantly. Ethan and Zara looked at each other, and in that moment, any illusion of romance or excitement between them crumbled. Guilt, shame, fear. It was all there, clear as day. Together, they hurried out the side door, though they were no longer truly together. The atmosphere of intimacy they had once shared was replaced by the cold silence of scandal. "Do you think Ethan can ever win back Olivia's trust? Or has this night of betrayal sealed their fate?" Leave your comment below and like this video if this drama has you hooked. The Limbo. Olivia spent the next few hours at Carla's sleek South Kensington flat, reclining on a sofa with a cold cloth over her forehead, tears flowing freely. In those moments, her whole world felt as if it had gone dark. The man she loved, the father of her unborn child, had betrayed her in the most unimaginable way. She felt surges of anger, sadness, and a searing sense of loss. Carla stayed protectively close, offering tissues, water, and quiet comfort. "You need to calm down for the baby's sake," she pleaded gently. Olivia looked away, swallowing her sobs. "How can I be calm?" she asked, her voice broken. "Everything I thought I knew is gone." Meanwhile, Ethan drove to his penthouse downtown, a flat he rarely used. Originally meant for nights when business kept him late in the city. He couldn't face going home, not when it was empty and filled with memories of Olivia. He stood on the balcony overlooking the city's illuminated skyline. He was hollowed out by regret, reliving the scene in the restaurant again and again, tormented by the look in Olivia's eyes. Zara left him to deal with his conscience. She slipped away silently, whispering an apology that sounded hollow even to her own ears. She knew their relationship, if it could even be called that, was in tatters. The thrill was dead, replaced by the all-too-real consequences of heartbreak and scandal. For the next 2 days, Ethan tried to reach Olivia to no avail. She rejected his calls, blocked his texts, and threatened to involve a lawyer if he didn't stop harassing her. Carla guarded Olivia like a lioness guards her cub, fiercely protective. Worried about the baby, Olivia visited her doctor, who advised her to rest and manage stress as best she could. The press caught wind of a domestic drama involving the tech billionaire. Some tabloids ran the story, but the Eternal Charm and its staff refused to comment or issue any statement, respecting the privacy of their clientele. Gossip websites speculated, but the story still lacked official confirmation. Olivia, devastated, avoided public attention, ignoring inquiries from her usual circle. She had more pressing things on her mind than controlling a media narrative, her baby's health and her own shattered heart. Finally, on the 3rd day, Ethan managed to track down Carla's address and showed up unannounced. A security guard tried to turn him away, but his desperation was compelling. Carla appeared at the door. "I'll give you 5 minutes," she said coldly, stepping outside to speak to him in the hallway. "Olivia doesn't want to see you." He looked disheveled, with dark circles under his eyes and a tormented expression. "Please," he said, his voice cracking. "I just need to know she's okay, and the baby is okay." Carla's resolve softened slightly. She's been to the doctor. Physically, she's fine, though under severe stress. You cannot see her right now. She's not ready. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. I understand. I truly do. But I need you to help me. I need to talk to her. She's not willing to listen, Carla snapped. If you care about her, leave her alone. Let her decide if or when she wants to talk to you. And if you don't, I will personally make sure the whole city knows what you did. He nodded, swallowing hard. Okay, but please, Carla, just tell her I'm here. I'm not running away. I'm ready to do whatever it takes. Carla studied him for a moment. I'll tell her, but don't expect a miracle. You broke her heart, Ethan. His chest tightened. I know, he whispered. The path to redemption. Days turned into weeks. Olivia remained at Carla's, ignoring the outside world. Her phone constantly rang with calls from family, the media, the curious, but she turned them all away, letting Carla handle any urgent matters. Meanwhile, Ethan's empire ran on autopilot, with his loyal executives handling the day-to-day operations. He canceled appearances, skipped important conferences, and ignored urgent emails. The board worried, but they knew better than to push him too hard on his personal crisis. His brand was too big, too influential, to risk an open confrontation. During this period of limbo, Ethan realized something profound. All the deals, the money, the success, none of it mattered if he lost Olivia and their unborn child. He thought about the future, the father he wanted to be. He wrote letter after letter, expressing remorse and longing, but he never sent them, knowing Olivia wasn't ready. He considered how he had felt about Zara. Was it ever real love, or was it an escape from responsibilities he felt unprepared for? Zara tried to reach out once or twice, but Ethan didn't reply. He had nothing left to say to her. She had been a willing partner, yes, but ultimately the fault was his. He was the one who swore fidelity to Olivia, not Zara. Carrying that guilt, he felt unworthy even to ask for forgiveness. He hired a therapist, Dr. James Davies, a respected specialist in high-profile marital crises. He did it privately, without fanfare, at a modest office that offered discreet access. The sessions forced him to confront uncomfortable truths, his fear of fatherhood, his longing for novelty, his lack of emotional maturity and facing responsibilities he hadn't anticipated. Slowly and painfully, he began to peel back the layers of his psyche. Carla noticed that Olivia, despite her pain, was still deeply concerned about the baby's welfare. She also noticed the occasional flicker in Olivia's eyes when she mentioned Ethan's name. There was anger, yes, but also an undercurrent of something else, love, or at least the remnants of it. Olivia couldn't simply switch off the feelings cultivated over years of marriage. She often looked at a framed photo of herself and Ethan, taken during a skiing trip in the Swiss Alps, their faces close, cheeks rosy from the cold, eyes lit with a shared sparkle. One afternoon, as Olivia sat on the sofa with an unopened letter on her lap, Carla approached softly. "Are you okay?" Olivia sighed, tracing her fingers over the envelope. "He's been sending me these letters," she said quietly. "I haven't opened them, but I don't know. Part of me wants to see what he has to say." Carla sat down beside her. "It's okay to look. Reading his words doesn't mean you're forgiving him yet. It's just opening a window." With trembling hands, Olivia tore the envelope. Ethan's handwriting sprawled across the page in nervous loops. She read silently. "Olivia, I have no right to ask for your forgiveness, but I want you to know that I am committed to facing this head-on. I'm in therapy, trying to understand why I risked everything we built. I can't undo the damage I've done, but I want to be there for you and our child in whatever capacity you'll allow. I love you in a way that I now realize I should have fought to protect. Please, let me show you I can change." Tears welled up in Olivia's eyes again. But this time, they weren't solely for the betrayal or the rage. They were for the glimmer of hope that something, maybe not now, maybe not soon, but someday, could be salvaged. Her emotions were a tangled mess, but she realized that if she wanted closure or a future of any kind, she had to face him eventually. 2 weeks after the night of the betrayal, Olivia agreed to meet Ethan at Dr. Davies' office, a neutral ground. Carla accompanied her for moral support, waiting in the lobby as Olivia walked in. Ethan stood up as she entered, his face haggard and sorrowful. There was an awkward silence before Dr. Davies gently ushered them to sit down. "Thank you for coming," Ethan said, his voice shaky. Olivia's gaze darted between him and the floor. "I'm here for one reason. Our son. We have to decide what happens next. I can't be in limbo forever." Dr. Davies guided this conversation, ensuring it didn't devolve into accusations or shouting. Ethan admitted his failings, telling Olivia about his fears and insecurities. He recounted how he had used Zara as a crutch, a misguided escape. He stressed that his love for Olivia was real, that he was committed to long-term therapy. Olivia listened, tears welling, sometimes voicing her own hurt, sparing no detail of how deeply the betrayal had cut. She also acknowledged that a part of her still loved him. She was carrying his child and didn't want to deprive that child of a father. But the question remained, could she ever trust him again? At the session's close, Olivia said softly, "I'm not making any promises, but I'll come back for another session. For the baby's sake." Ethan nodded, barely daring to hope. "Thank you," he whispered. Outside, Carla waited. She touched Olivia's hand as she walked out. "How do you feel?" Olivia let out a shaky sigh. "Numb, but perhaps like there's a path forward, however uncertain." Do you think Olivia should give Ethan a second chance for the baby's sake? Or is the betrayal too great to overcome? Share your thoughts, and don't forget to like this video if this story is moving you. The New Beginning. Over the following weeks, Olivia and Ethan continued therapy. Slowly and painfully, Olivia moved out of Carla's flat, back into the Blackwood mansion, insisting on staying in a separate guest wing. She needed distance, but also recognized the practicality of living under one roof, especially as her due date approached. This arrangement was fraught with tension, awkward breakfasts, polite exchanges that masked deeper wounds. Still, there were small gestures. Ethan would make fresh chamomile tea for Olivia every morning. He arranged for a specialized prenatal masseuse to come to the house, ensuring she stayed stress-free. At first, Olivia saw these gestures as guilt offerings. In time, she realized they might be genuine attempts to show affection. Zara Miller, meanwhile, faded into the background. She resigned from her job in Mayfair and quietly left the city. Gossip sites speculated about her whereabouts, but no one truly knew. Ethan had made it clear he wanted no further contact. If she hoped to salvage any dignity, leaving was her best option. The baby's arrival loomed on the horizon, a daily clock reminding them what truly mattered. Olivia felt life kicking inside her, a miraculous reminder that amid all the confusion, hope could still blossom. The pain no longer felt as raw as before. She started allowing Ethan to accompany her to doctor's appointments. He would hold her hand during the ultrasounds, tears shining in his eyes as he heard their child's heartbeat. Each time, it melted a fraction of Olivia's defenses, though the trust remained fragile. One afternoon, after another therapy session, Olivia found herself wandering through the mansion's library. She ran her fingers over the leather-bound book spines. Memories assailed her, Ethan reading passages of a novel to her, their first night in the mansion, dancing barefoot on the marble floors. She sighed, heavy with nostalgia and uncertainty. Ethan approached quietly. "Olivia," he asked softly, seeing her eyes well up. "Are you okay?" She turned to him, arms crossed over her bump. "Do you ever wish things could go back to the way they were?" He exhaled, stepping forward cautiously. "Every single day," he admitted. "But I know I can't erase what happened." She nodded, tears threatening to spill. "I'm so angry, Ethan. Part of me wants to forgive you, to try again for the baby. Another part," her voice caught, "another part wants to punish you for what you did." He swallowed hard. "I get it. I don't expect you to have all the answers right now. I just want you to know that I'm going to be here. Whatever you decide, I'm not giving up on us." She studied his face. His sincerity touched her heart, but her mind buzzed with caution. In a moment of raw vulnerability, she confessed, "I'm scared. Scared to trust you again and be broken. Scared to do this alone if I don't." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "You're not alone. Even if we don't end up together as husband and wife, I will never abandon you or our son. I promise." His words hung in the air, a solemn pledge shadowed by previous betrayals, but still a promise that glowed faintly in the darkness. Olivia trembled. The tears fell. In that moment, she let Ethan pull her into an embrace, both of them crying softly. It was the first time they had held each other since the restaurant. The moment stretched, allowing them a fleeting sense of unity, though the path ahead remained uncertain. Delivery and renewal. On a crisp autumn morning, the clouds hung low in the sky, casting a soft, diffuse light over London. When Olivia woke up to an undeniable tightening in her abdomen, she first thought it might be another false alarm. In the weeks leading up to her due date, she had experienced more than a few Braxton Hicks contractions. But within minutes, a sharper, more persistent wave of pain coursed through her. She clung to the edge of the bed, breathing steadily. Her heart pounded with apprehension and excitement. This was it. Her baby was coming. Ethan, sleeping in the guest room down the hall, woke with a start to the muffled sound of Olivia's strained breathing. Without hesitation, he rushed to her side. A single glance at her face, taut with urgency, told him all he needed to know. Her nightgown clung to her, damp with perspiration, and she gasped a single phrase, "It's time." In that instant, all their unspoken tension dissolved into one single shared goal: to bring their son into the world safely. They scrambled, panicked, but well coordinated, to the private wing of the Portland Hospital for Women and Children, reserved for high-profile patients. Carla was already there, courtesy of a text message Ethan had sent during the frantic drive. The sterile sheen of the hospital corridor stood in stark contrast to the whirlwind of emotions inside them all. Despite the months of pain and mistrust, Olivia allowed Ethan to hold her hand. Every contraction was a raw reminder that they were in this together. Time blurred as the laboring hours stretched on, one contraction merging with the next. Nurse after nurse came in to check on dilation and vital signs. The rhythmic beeping of medical monitors clashed with the occasional lullaby music floating from the delivery room's speakers. Olivia grit her teeth, tears streaming from the sheer intensity of the pain. Ethan stayed by her side, gently wiping the sweat from her forehead, whispering encouraging words. He felt a strange mix of awe and helplessness, grappling with the profound responsibility that came with fatherhood. Carla paced the waiting room, peeking in occasionally to offer supportive smiles or bring Olivia ice chips. The tension between the parents-to-be was eclipsed by the magnitude of what was happening. Doctors spoke in low tones, examining the fetal monitor. A flicker of worry crossed a resident's face when the baby's heartbeat momentarily dipped, sending a stab of fear through Olivia and Ethan. But the attending physician quickly reassured them, calmly making adjustments to ensure the baby's safety. Late in the evening, After almost years of labor, the final stage arrived in a crescendo of urgency. Nurses guided Olivia to push with every contraction. Her face shone with tears and sweat. Every muscle trembled. Ethan's throat tightened. His eyes misted over as he held her back and tried to steady her breath. For a fraction of a second, they locked eyes, and despite the bitterness of the last few months, they recognized in each other a partner for this crucial moment. Then, as dawn was breaking, a loud cry broke the silence of the delivery room. Their baby entered the world, his wail sounding like a triumphant announcement. Olivia collapsed against the pillows, tears streaming down her cheeks. Relief and overwhelming joy flooded her in equal measure. Ethan stood spellbound as the doctor placed the small, squirming bundle into Olivia's arms. The baby's eyes were squeezed shut, his pink face contorted in protest at this bright, new world. In that first moment of holding him, Olivia felt a surge of fierce love, a love that eclipsed all betrayal, all regret, and all lingering doubt. Ethan reached out a trembling hand to stroke the baby's delicate fingers. The tiny hand grasped his thumb, as if refusing to let go. It was a gesture so simple, yet so profound, that it shattered Ethan's composure. Tears streamed down his cheeks, and he bent to press a soft kiss to the baby's forehead. For those precious seconds, the weight of the past vanished. There was no affair. There was no heartbreak, only the miracle of a new life. Meaningful ending and final CTS. Doctors and nurses busied themselves with postnatal checks, wiping and weighing the baby, while the proud parents watched, their eyes glazed with exhaustion and wonder. Carla slipped into the room, tears glistening on her lashes, to witness the tiny miracle. She placed a comforting hand on Olivia's shoulder, and for once, her normally reserved expression was completely softened. For the next few days, the hospital room became a cocoon of warmth and renewal, the faint scent of antiseptic and baby powder mingling in the air. Nurses taught Olivia to breastfeed, carefully guiding her through the basics of swaddling. Ethan became the self-appointed diaper changer, clumsy at first, but determined to get it right. In those intimate hospital moments, the emotional armor they had both worn for months began to dissolve. Instead, they operated as a team, parents united by the unique and urgent love for their son. The baby's birth is a turning point. Can this new chapter in their lives erase the scars of betrayal? Comment below what you think happens next. Weeks after bringing the baby home, the Blackwood mansion felt different. Quieter, yet overflowing with the daily symphony of a newborn's needs. Ethan and Olivia navigated the nighttime feedings, the diaper changes, and the bouts of colic. There were moments of shared laughter when the baby's expressions amused them, moments of exhaustion when one or both felt overwhelmed. Therapy sessions continued, now focusing on co-parenting. Dr. Davies encouraged them to maintain open communication. Trust wasn't rebuilt overnight, but Ethan was constant in his devotion to Olivia and the baby, taking full paternity leave from his corporate duties to be completely present. Slowly, Olivia found herself warming up to Ethan again, seeing in him the devoted father she had once hoped for. His transformation seemed genuine, not a fleeting act. He was more humble, more present, listening to her needs instead of dismissing them for business calls. As the baby grew, so did the fragile bonds between them. Still, they had a decision to make. Would they remain married or go their separate ways and raise their son amicably? For a time, they lived in a kind of suspended limbo, functioning as a unit for the baby, sharing personal moments, yet hesitant to define their relationship. It was one snowy December evening by the fireplace, as their son slept upstairs, that Olivia took a tentative step. She rested her head on Ethan's shoulder, watching the dancing flames. "I want to try again," she said, her voice trembling with both fear and hope. "I'm not saying it will be easy, and I'm not promising it will work, but I want to try." Ethan's breath hitched. Slowly, he lifted her chin to look her in the eyes. "I love you, Olivia," he whispered. "I will spend every single day proving it." They sealed the moment with a soft kiss, a promise to rebuild what was broken. The future was unwritten, but for the first time in months, it glowed with possibility instead of regret. Final message: thank you for joining us on this tumultuous journey of betrayal, heartbreak, and love. From the glittering walls of the eternal charm to the raw tears of confession, Ethan and Olivia's story reminds us that life can change in the blink of an eye. And sometimes, the greatest trials pave the way for the most significant transformations. Will Ethan and Olivia's fragile new start endure? Can trust truly be rebuilt after it's been shattered? In the end, each of us must decide if the bonds of love and family can triumph over our darkest impulses. This story captures only a glimpse of that possibility, urging us all to look inward and support those who matter most. If you've been captivated, please like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel for more dramatic and exciting true stories. Your support keeps these narratives alive. Thank you for watching.